Hello and welcome to PowerDrift. Today we have with us the first brand new Pulsar from the new generation of Pulsars, and in this video we are not allowed to talk about what it feels like to ride, and we haven't ridden it yet. We are not allowed to talk about anything in detail about how they built this engine, which is brand new, or the frame, but we can tell you what's under the skin and what this motorcycle promises. Welcome to PowerDrift. If you haven't, please do hit the like and share buttons, and if you do like this video, there's a bell notification icon for you, and please do send it out to your friends. Shall we begin? The Pulsar line began on October 28, 2001. And as I record this, it's October 28, 2021, exactly 20 years later to the day. And what Bajaj has revealed today is the first motorcycle from the new platform, which will spawn all the new Pulsars that will come after it. And this is, by that standard, the first motorcycle. But what that means is every Pulsar that is on sale today, except this one, will, over the period of next 1 or 2 years, be replaced by completely new machines that will use the philosophies embodied in this motorcycle to replace all those motorcycles. As you should already know, this motorcycle is called the F250, and the F refers obviously to the fairing. That also means it's a 250cc engine, and it's a brand new 250cc engine about which we don't know enough details yet. What we do know is that this motorcycle promises to make a lot of torque. Peak torque is 21.5 Newton meters and it's made at 6,000 RPM, so that's not a very high peak rev number. Peak power is 24.5, and that makes it the most powerful Pulsar yet. It's just above the Pulsar 200 NS, and the claim is, in nature, this is a very different motorcycle. And you can actually see this from the specification, because while the NS200, which derived from the KTMs, has a liquid-cooled engine, this has an oil cooler. The KTM has a 6-speed gearbox, which moved into the NS200. This has a 5-speed gearbox, but this does have a slip and assist clutch, which should make your clutch effort much lighter. Let me try that out now. It is quite a bit lighter than you're used to, and it's otherwise got a fairly basic specification. What the Bajaj guys told us repeatedly is that you will be surprised when you ride the F250 because it rides far better than the specification promises. And in that sense, I don't know that Bajaj should have done the format like this where we get to see the motorcycle today, we get to reveal the spec to you, but I can't tell you anything about what it feels like to ride, and that obviously is the real deal, right? So what can we discuss in detail? And the first thing obviously is the design. I think this is a really sharp looking motorcycle. There aren't a lot of 220 FQs, a motorcycle that this is being shaped to replace, although Bajaj has taken the decision not to do that yet. And yes, the F250, 250F confusion is going to happen because up till now we've called this motorcycle the 250F, and Bajaj now calls it the F250. So at the front, you've got a really nice looking fairing. The projector headlamp, which is a throwback to the 220F, is very much present, and that does all the heavy lifting because it's a LED unit that does high beam and low beam functions. Above that are the DRLs, and there's a very nice little fairing, and you've got mirrors that fold in. It takes a little bit of effort because there's a lock point here and at the top, and I'm just pretending it's not that much force. And at the front, you've got a new analog digital cluster. It does sort of remind you of the old one, but this does look a lot more modern. The telltale lights have become quite a lot larger. There is still an analog rev counter. Let me know if you think an analog rev counter is better than a digital tachometer as we see on a lot of motorcycles today. Do you think there is a functional benefit to it? Design-wise, I do like the feel of an old analog tachometer, so I'm quite happy to see it. And next to that is a fairly large screen. It's blue backlit. It's now got a gear position indicator and other features that we'll talk about in detail when we ride the motorcycle. That video should hit around the 11th of November, so stay tuned to PowerDrift for that. There's 4 buttons that will help you stay tuned. We've already referred to those, so let's move on. The engine, which is brand new, and I've talked about it, goes into a brand new frame, which is a diamond style frame but made of tubular steel. And I'm not sure why, but this motorcycle at about 165 odd kilos is still a fairly heavy motorcycle, although it is lighter, for example, than the Dominar. In terms of engine specification, again, there are 2 reference points here, right? Let's take the Dominar 250 on one side and the 220F on one side. And if you look at those numbers, the Dominar 250 produces more torque and more power, but it is quite a bit heavier than this motorcycle. So in the real world, we'll have to see what they feel like when you ride them back to back. On the other side, compared to the 220F, which obviously has a much smaller engine, this motorcycle has quite a bit more performance to talk about. But what's similar between the 220F and the 250F is actually the wheelbase. This is 1351 mm, that used to be 1350 mm. So in terms of physical size, this motorcycle is not very different. from the 220F, but the proportions are different. So as I see here, I can see that the 250F looked like a long, low motorcycle. This looks like a much more modern design, so it's a little bit stubbier and it looks more proportionate because of it. The finish levels are looking pretty good to me. The paint is super glossy and nice, and in that sense, this does look like a motorcycle that is current and modern and updated, and without using too many cues that throw back to the older Bajaj motorcycles. In terms of specification, we know what the frame is like. You can see that they've not gone for the upside down forks. I'll tell you why in just a minute. You've got front ABS only. It does not have ABS on the rear, although it does have a speed pickup ring on the back, just like it does on the front. And in that sense, what Bajaj has done is kept the specification fairly tightly under control. There is no exceptionally great features here. We've not talked about variable valve actuation. We've not talked about connectivity at all during the entire press conference today. Again, most of the details about how that engine was built, why the frame is like this, what kind of suspension tuning is going on, that comes out later in a video that we will try to air on the 11th of November when the embargo is finally lifted. But we do know the price and we do know the availability of this motorcycle. So this motorcycle, the fared one, the F250, is priced at 1,40,000 rupees ex-showroom Delhi. It will be in dealers by the 10th or 11th of November roughly, especially the dealers who are closer to the plant here in Pune. Dealers who are further away might see the motorcycle a few days later. But the important thing is, this is one of two Pulsar 250s that have been launched today. And now, let me just prep for the second one. So when you take the F250 and take its blazer fairing off, what you get is the N250. Now this is exactly the same motorcycle physically, although obviously it is a little bit lighter because the half fairing has disappeared. So the front is a naked unit, and here, styling wise, I do have a bone to pick. This surface here, I'm not convinced that it's very good looking, but remember, we haven't seen it in like natural light yet. We've only seen it artificially lit inside this auditorium. So I don't know what this surface will look like in the flesh, but everything else, the DRL configuration, the headlight, all of that remains the same. But that brings us to 2 points that we still have to talk about. I said I would talk a little bit more about these forks, and what you should know is that these are 37mm forks and they're made by Endurance, which has been Bajaj's suspension supplier of choice for absolutely decades. But the surprise is that the brakes are no longer made by Bybreed. These are Grimeca, which is a European brand, but these are also manufactured by Endurance for this motorcycle. That aside, what else do we have left to discuss? Well, you've got zappers, you've got a 100 section tire in the front, you've got a 130 at the back. Oh yeah, availability and pricing. So this motorcycle is about 2,000 rupees less than the F250. So this is 1,38,000 rupees ex-showroom. And you should be able to start booking them and purchasing them from around the 10th of November. Our videos riding these motorcycles hit on the 11th of November. And honestly, I know a lot more about this motorcycle than I can reveal today, but do stay tuned for the video that hits 11th November, because then we'll have the full details of what's inside, why it was done like the way it was, what it feels like to ride, and what's the actual promise that the 250s deliver, the N and the F. Thank you so much for watching. This is PowerDrift. If you have more questions about these bikes, do leave us a comment. And if you do like this video, please don't forget to share it with your friends. Please do hit the bell notification icon so that when the first ride video on these motorcycles goes out, Varun Painter will be part of those videos. When that video goes out, you get notified automatically. I will see you later, it turns out. What the motorcycle also has is VRA. It was supposed to have VVA according to all the stuff that we read online, but what it actually has is VRA, and that's variable rumor activation.